Mabrika, welcome, bienvenidos. I'm Phoenix Aurora, and today is going to be a review of Goddesses and Sirens by Stacey DeMarco and Jimmy Manton. And real quick, before I start showing you guys the cards and all that fun stuff, I just wanted to shout out one of my Facebook friends and fellow YouTuber, The Native Witch. Her YouTube channel is Valena Love. And I'll leave a link in the description for those of you guys who want to go and check her out, because I totally recommend it. But she recently posted on Facebook about asking about different oracle decks that are goddess related. And I recently got this one from my husband for my birthday. And it's literally the only goddess related deck I have so far. So I recommended it, and then the thought came into my mind to do a review, because I haven't done one yet. And then, you know, if she wants to, she can check it out and look at all the different cards and decide if this is something she'd be interested in. So yeah, definitely go check her out. And real quick as well, I want to say thank you so much, because I actually ordered a divination candle from her, and I got it in the mail yesterday. And I'm just so in love with it that I forgot to take pictures or bring it with me or anything like that to show you guys. I'll probably just like throw in a picture now. And now that you guys have seen the picture, you have an idea of the kind of work that she does. She does metal work, she does rings, she does all kinds of cool stuff. She has her own business, and I'll try and put a link in the description to that as well. But I ordered the candle from her, and she included so many awesome like little tidbits and stuff in there that when I opened the package, I could just feel the love. I was only expecting the candle, but there was this sachet of herbs and stuff that she had in the package along with the candle, which anytime I look at it, I have to pick it up and smell it, because it smells so good. It smells so good. Then there was a little chime candle that came with it, which I actually have on my altar to Atabe right now. It sits on top of a jar where I've dedicated items to her inside the jar. And then usually what I do is burn a white candle on top of that jar whenever I'm venerating her. And so that chime candle is perfect, because I actually ran out of candles to put on there. So I was like, oh yes, I can use this one before I have to run out and go buy some more. So that was really cool. And what else was in that package? Oh, there was this little temperance tarot card in there that she laminated. And it just kind of went perfect with the divination candle and the sachet, and just everything else that was in that package. It just kind of all came together just really beautifully. And you could tell she put her, some time and love and thought into what she sent me. And I just really, really, really appreciate it. Like, thank you so much. I could feel the love. I felt it. Check her out. And this is the guidebook that I'm flipping through right now, actually. Those of you guys wondering what the heck I'm doing. But the guidebook is good. It has the how to use the cards, dedication for the cards. It even has a list of things that you can use to consecrate/cleanse your cards. And it has a 1-card divination on this first page, how you can do it with just 1 card, 2 and 3 cards, and then it goes into more elaborate layouts for anybody interested. So then you have the actual message for each card as well. And then we have the actual cards, which I'm going to go ahead and shuffle, because why not? And they're easy to shuffle cards. They're not like super thick, They're bigger cards, so it can be a little bit awkward for me sometimes trying to shuffle the cards, but they're not so huge that it's impossible if you have smaller hands. And my hands are pretty big for a female, I think. So yeah. So the first card that came up is Jeanne d'Arc, or Joan of Arc. And this is a French entity, and as you can tell, the cards are glossy, so I apologize for the glare and stuff on the cards. But yeah, most people have an idea of who she is already, just historic wise, and she represents faith. So look her up if you want to learn more. And all these associations are perfect for each of the goddesses that they are representing. For example, you have the Muses, who are Greek, and they represent inspiration. So if you know anything about the Muses, this makes perfect sense. And I actually really like this card because she's got the one muse with the pottery, she's got some music, an instrument right here, and then she's got a paintbrush. So it's just, you know, you get this creative energy coming through for the card, and I really like that. Then we have Morgan Le Fay, or Morgana, or the Morrigan. They tend to be associated with each other, and she represents magic. Oh, and this is a Celtic entity, by the way. This is Pomona, and she represents plenty. This is a Roman deity, and she's associated with the Greek goddess Demeter, if I'm not mistaken. And then we have the Sumerian goddess Lilith. She represents equality. And for those who, you know, may or may not know the story in the Bible takes this Sumerian goddess and demonizes her, turns her into a succubus, because she was originally Adam's other half. God created Adam from the dirt and created Lilith from the same dirt. So they were equals. And basically what ends up happening is Adam always wants to be on top when they're lovemaking. And Lilith has a problem with that. She wants to be on top every now and then. She's not saying she needs to be on top all the time, but, you know, why not every now and then switch it up? And Adam basically is like, no, I'm the man. And she's like, well, fine then, fuck you. And she just leaves. Those who know her origin know that she's not a demon. That's just the Christian way of demonizing any strong and independent woman, because we're supposed to be submissive, right? Not this chick. And I don't know too many strong women that are okay with being submissive. Like, they might take on a role where you, not knowing, might see her as submissive, but you know, like a mom, a stay-at-home mom, that doesn't necessarily mean because she's a stay-at-home mom that she's submissive. That's all I'm trying to say. Then we have Brigid, another Celtic entity, and she represents healing. And if you notice, every single one of these entities is depicted beautifully. Like, you have Sheila Nagig, another Celtic entity, and she represents gateways. However, you know, she is a crone goddess, but there is nothing, you know, old and decrepit or anything like that in this image. I don't pick that up personally. You know, she is older, but I still see beauty and wisdom and stuff like that. So I really like the way they did this card. They didn't, you know, make her look like the typical crone, you know, old witch with warts on her face and stuff like that. I don't know any witches that actually look like that. You know, just saying. But this is Bast, and she is an Egyptian deity, or Kemet. And she represents play, which makes sense because for those who know her background, she is a deity that is depicted most often as a cat, or at the very least, you know, the body of a human, the head of a cat. So, and when you think about cats, they're pretty playful creatures, especially in the wee hours of the night / morning. That's when they really act like they're on crack and run around everywhere and climb up on things and jump off on things, and you're just like, what in the world is going on with you cats? Then we have Hathor, or Hathor, and she represents contentment, which, if you look at the picture, it makes sense. You know, she looks like a woman who has found her true love and who's lived her life, and now she's about to have a baby, and she's just sitting there holding her baby, perfectly happy. Well, her baby belly, because her baby's obviously not out yet. She's preggo. I really like that picture. Then we have Ketesh, another Sumerian entity, and she represents pleasure. And I mean, look, she's got two hot guys on call right there. Wink, wink. Amaterasu is a deity of the Shinto faith in Japan. So we're talking Asia here, and she represents self-esteem. Then we have Helen of Troy. And you can see there's like a soldier. It looks like he's got her, yeah, he's got her arms tied behind her and stuff. And she represents beauty. And for those who know the history and or stories, this is the face that launched 1,000 ships. The straw that broke the camel's back, leading to the Trojan War. So look into that more if you are interested. But moving right along, we have Esther or Easter, and she represents new beginnings. And this is where you get the bunny and the eggs and stuff on the day that Christians are celebrating the rise of Christ, of Jesus coming back from the dead. And a lot of people eventually start to question, well, what the heck do eggs and bunnies have to do with it? Well, it has to do with Easter. This goddess, who is, I believe, Sumerian as well. And these are all symbols of fertility. We have Rhiannon, and those who know her background and stories can understand how she represents self-trust. And the horse in the background there is just perfect. And we have the Norse Valkyries, and they represent redemption, which makes a lot of sense if you know their background, because these are Norse entities that on the battlefield, when a soldier dies, if he dies with honor and he fought honorably, then he is offered to go to Valhalla, and the Valkyries are their escorts. We have Athena. She represents strategy. She is a Greek entity, and she is the goddess of war. A lot of people know Ares is the god of war, but not so many know that Athena is the goddess of war. While Ares represents, you know, the brute strength, she represents the strategy. She represents the thought process. You know, like when you're playing chess and you have to move the pieces a certain way to make sure that you win, that's Athena. That's the wisdom, the knowledge, the thinking. That's all her. Then we have the goddess Pele. She is a Hawaiian deity, and she represents purpose. She's also associated with fire, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, volcanoes and stuff like that come to mind when I think of Pele. We have Boudica, who is an Iceni or Iceni, British Celt deity, and she represents unity. We have Hecate or Hecate, and she represents illumination. And, you know, she's got the torch, which is one of her correspondences, a symbol that is very strongly associated with her, along with the key in her other hand that she's got there. So her representing illumination makes sense. And I don't remember if I already said it, but she's a Greek deity. We have the Sirens that represent temptation, and at first glance you think they're hot, right? Then you look at her hand, it's like a claw, and you know, as you go further back on the card, it just gets more distorted and just, ugh, you know what I mean? And they represent temptation. Those who know their stories know that these were entities that would lure sailors to their deaths. So temptation makes sense. Then there's Hera. She's the goddess of commitment, and she's Greek, so she was associated with marriage and marriage rites and stuff like that. She looks pretty awesome right there. Artemis is yet another Greek goddess, and she represents individuation or individuality. Then we have Kali. She is a Hindu deity, and she represents fear in this deck. I mean, look at her. Would you fuck with her? Not I, said the brown cow. We have Vesta. This is a Roman deity. She represents the home, and she's associated with Hestia in Greek, in the Greek stories or mythology, quote unquote. I try not to use the word mythology because I'm not trying to say that anybody's spiritual path is less legitimate than the next person's. But we have Gaia, also a Greek entity who represents creation. This is Mother Earth in the Greek stories. We have Persephone, and she represents cycles, which makes sense because she is the Greek goddess of the underworld, if I'm not mistaken. I know she's Hades' wife, and she spends half of the year in Olympus and the other half of the year in the underworld. So she represents, you know, the turning of the wheel, the changing of the seasons and stuff like that. So cycles make sense for her. We have Andromache. She represents strength, also a Greek entity. And I don't know that much about her, so if you want to learn more, you're going to have to look it up for yourself. Sorry. Okay, so now that he's moved his car, the lighting is horrible because he was kind of blocking the sun so that it was only coming from, you know, in front of me. So I apologize for that. But moving right along, we have White Buffalo Woman, and this is a Native American entity. She represents peace, and she is specifically a Lakota deity. However, there could be other tribes that honor her or worship her. However, I'm not sure on that, so you'd have to look into that for yourself, but she is a Lakota deity. We have Freya, another Norse entity, and she represents irresistibility. And if you know her story, that makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. She is associated with the goddess Aphrodite in Greek mythology, who people tend to know more about, which is why I'm assuming this deck is so heavy on the Greek deities and not so much on all the others. But there you go. You have Freya. You also have Aphrodite, who I just got done talking about, representing self-love, the Greek deity. We have Ma'at, an Egyptian deity that represents justice. Very awesome looking, in my opinion. We have Ixchel. She represents release, and she is also a Native American deity, specifically Mayan. She looks awesome. Sorry, I'm trying to put it in a way where there's not as much glare, and it's really not working for me here. We have Lakshmi, another Hindu deity representing prosperity in this deck. I like the flower right there, the lotus. Very much an association, a flower that's associated with her. Oh, she has one in both hands. We have Baba Yaga, representing authenticity, and this is a Slavic entity, so we're talking about, you know, Russia, the Ukraine, that area or part of the world. Isis, representing protection. Makes a heck of a lot of sense. She's got the ankh right there in her hand, her staff, the wings. Very cool. Then there's Nuit, who represents, or Nuit, I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce her name, but she represents expansiveness. And if I'm not mistaken, she's also an Egyptian deity. There's Quan Yin, and she represents compassion. She is worshipped by Buddhists and Taoists, so the East Asia region. She's very cool looking as well. Yeah, look her up. There's Sekhmet, who represents reduction, another Egyptian entity. And I don't know about you guys, but most of these goddesses I've shown you do not look like, I mean, they're gorgeous, but they don't look like somebody you want to mess with. Definitely want to show these ladies respect. And these last two cards are my favorite, and it's interesting that they are the last two cards. But we have the Yoruba deity Yemaya, and Yoruba is in the spirituality is a practice from Africa, and she represents hope. And then you have her younger sister Oya, who represents power. And then the third sister would be Oshun, for those who are interested in learning more about these Yoruba deities, these orishas. So that's it for that deck. There's 40 cards. I went ahead and tallied them up, and the majority of the cards are European deities, which is something that, you know, not that it bothered me. I don't have a problem with it. I do like the deck, but I would personally like to see more lesser known entities. because the overwhelming majority of the deities, I'm sure you guys noticed as I was pulling them up and showing you the cards, were Greek, of Greek origin. And like I said, I'm not knocking people who are Greek or who follow the Greek path or anything like that. Not knocking it at all, okay? It would just have been nice to see entities from other paths, more entities from other paths. You know, we had 2 Yoruba, like 2 or 3 that could be considered Native American. So, you know, lesser known paths would have been nice to see incorporated in this goddess deck. So if you guys know of any other goddess related decks that you recommend that have some lesser known entities and whatnot in it, please let me know, because I would love to check it out. Any insight you have on this deck, you know, whether you like it or not, why you like it or don't, feel free to leave me a comment. And that's all I have to say. I hope you guys are having a good one. I'm about to hit this beach for my beach therapy, and I hope you guys have an amazing day today, because that's the plan for me. Again, I hope you guys are having a good one, and many blessings. Bye.